Hello and welcome to our class today. Thank you for joining us. So remember, with all the exercises we go through, make sure you go at whatever level suits you and what's comfortable. And most importantly, we want you to enjoy the class today. Okay, so we'll get started. So we're going to bring our toes apart and those heels apart, so our feet are that hip width distance. Now make sure your knees are nice and soft, and just to begin with, we're going to bring the weight onto the fronts of your toes and then back onto your heels. So just transferring that weight forwards and back nice and gently, feeling that weight transfer onto the balls and then onto the heels of your feet. Good. And then just looking to find that midpoint between those two movements. That weight's going nice and evenly through your feet. Make sure your knees are nice and soft, so not locked back from there. Hands up onto your pelvis. Very gently, we're just going to tilt the pelvis forwards and then tucking it back. So it's just a gentle movement forwards and back. Sometimes it helps to imagine that pelvis is a bucket of water, tipping the water out the front and then tipping it out the back. Just looking to find that midpoint between those two movements. So our pelvis in a nice neutral spine position. That core is engaged from here. Those collarbones wide, shoulders drop down from here, and that neck nice and long and lifted. Very good. Okay, so we're just going to start by rotating through our upper spine, and we're going to put our hands behind our head if you can. Now, we can either just start by rotating our body round each side, or if you can, we can raise the right leg into hip flexion. So we're just lifting that leg up, and then to that side I've lifted, I'm just going to rotate my body round and then come back, okay? So I'm rotating that body round and then back. So just to that side I've lifted, I'm rotating round. If it feels too much with that leg raised, we can just rotate round with your feet on the ground. Good, and back. And again, rotating around and back. Lovely, one more. Rotating round and then back. Good, and lower the leg back down. Good. Okay, opposite leg lifted. So lifting that left leg this time. And then we're just going to rotate round to that left side and then back. And again, rotating around to that side that's lifted. But if it feels too much with the leg lifted, just keep the feet on the ground. Just rotating through the upper body, but really challenging that balance as well as we're coming around and then back. Good. And again, one more. Rotating around and back, and then lower the leg down and then lower those arms down. Relax those shoulders. Very good. Okay, so let's just do a little chest opening. So elbows into your side, neck nice and long, chin tucked in. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, I'm going to open those hands out, squeeze the shoulder blades gently back and coming forwards. Good. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, opening out, squeezing gently back and then forwards. Palms up to the ceiling, breath in. As you breathe out, opening out, squeezing the shoulder blades gently back and then coming back to that start. Good. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, opening out, palms to the ceiling and then back. As you breathe out, squeeze the shoulder blades at the end of that movement, working those as well as we open out through that chest. Good, and back. And again, opening out, squeezing gently back and forwards. And again, opening out and gently back. And again, opening out through that chest, squeeze the shoulder blades gently back and then forwards. And again, opening out, squeeze gently back and forwards. And again, and forwards. Good. Now this time we're going to open out. From here we're going to reach those arms away. Turn your palms down, palms back up and back into your side. Good. And again, opening out, reach the hands away, palms down, palms up and then back into your side. Good. And again, opening out, reach those hands away, palms down, palms up and back into your side. Good. And again, open out, reach away, palms down, palms up and then back. Good. And again, opening out that chest, reach the hands away, palms down, palms up and then back. Good. Let's do last couple here. Opening out, reaching away, palms down, palms up and back. Lovely. One last time. Opening out, reaching away, palms down, palms up and then back. Good. And then just relax those arms down and relaxing those shoulders. Very good. Okay, so we're going to go into our balance series from here. Feet still that hip width distance. Making sure we don't flare our ribs, we're going to raise our hands up to shoulder height, neck nice and long. Come up onto those toes, bend the knees, lower the feet and down. Good, and again, float the hands up to shoulder height, up onto those toes, bend the knees, lower the feet and down. And again, floating up onto those toes, bend the knees, lower the feet and down. And again, floating up onto those toes, bend the knees, lower the feet and down. Now make sure those knees are going over those toes, keeping going straight as you lower back down. And again, floating up onto those toes, bend the knees, lower the feet and down. And again, float up onto those toes, bend the knees, lower the feet and down. And again, lengthening through, keeping that control, make sure those knees aren't knocking in. Now this time we're going to raise our hands up to the ceiling, make sure those ribs don't flare, come up onto those toes, bend the knees, lower the feet and down. And again, floating up onto those toes, bend the knees, lower the feet and down. And again, floating up onto those toes, bend the knees, lower the feet and down. Good, and again, float up onto those toes, bend the knees, lower the feet and down. And again, up onto those toes, lengthening through, bend the knees, lower the feet and down. Great, one last time. Reaching up onto those toes, bend the knees, lower the feet and down. One last time. Up onto those toes, good. Bend those knees, lower the feet and down. Good, and relaxing from here. Okay, so let's just bring our feet just a tiny bit wider, okay? And we're going to go down into a few little squats from here. So keeping those knees going straight as well, we're going to hands onto your pelvis, stick our bottom out behind us and then back down. So imagine you've got a chair behind you and you're sitting back down into that chair and back up. So really bending in the middle as we're sitting down and back up. But my back staying straight as I just drop down and lift up. Good. Sitting down into that stretch and lowering. If you can, we can raise our hands forwards and up. So dropping down into that squat and lift up. Obviously the lower you go, the harder it is. Just go to where you feel comfortable. My knees are going over those toes, but the weight is going back onto my heels, okay? So if you're feeling it too much in your knees, then just make sure your weight is going back onto those heels. Good. Dropping down and back up. And again. Okay, now this time we're going to do a few little dips. We're going to drop down, stay down. And we're going to do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lift up. Very good. And again, drop down. 5 dips. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lift up. Very good. One last time. Arms forward. Drop down. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lift up. Very good. All right, so we're going to work our bottom a little bit more and extend through our body. Come side on. Now it's not a particularly big movement, but we want to engage that core, squeeze the bottom, and then reach one leg out behind. Now really use that bottom just to lift your leg out behind you. Make sure your back isn't arching. You're keeping that control as you take that leg behind you. Good. Squeezing the bottom, taking it back. Now if that feels okay, we can lengthen that opposite arm, opposite leg. So lengthen through that body, reaching, opposite arm, opposite leg. Good. Making sure my ribs aren't flaring. I'm keeping that control as I'm lengthening that body. As you can see, it's not a particularly big movement. I don't want my back arching. Squeeze that bottom. Good. And one more. And relax back down. Very good. Okay, we'll do the same on the opposite side. So just start with that bottom, squeeze that bottom out behind and then back. If you need to keep that toe in contact with the floor, you can, but try to lift off if you're able to. Squeezing that bottom, keeping that core engaged, and just lengthening and extending that hip. Good. Now if you can, we're going to bring the opposite arm, opposite leg. So reaching, opposite arm, opposite leg, core engaged, lengthening through. Using that bottom muscle to help lengthen opposite arm, opposite leg. Good. Squeezing that bottom. Lengthen through the body. Make sure your ribs aren't flaring. Keeping that control. Using that bottom, make sure you're not arching your back. It's not a huge movement. Squeezing that bottom. Extending that leg. Good. Let's do one more here. And then lower back down. Well done, relax those legs. Okay, so from here, feet still that hip width distance apart. I'm going to do a few roll downs just to warm up our spine. So take a breath in. As you breathe out, tucking that chin down, rolling those hands slowly down towards the floor. Take a breath at the end here. And as you breathe out, we're slowly peeling that spine back up into standing. Good, and again, breath in. As you breathe out, tucking that chin down, rolling, peeling that spine slowly down. Don't stick that bottom out, rolling down towards the floor. Take a breath at the end here. And then as you breathe out again, peeling slowly back up into standing. Good, and again, breath in. As you breathe out, tucking that chin down, rolling those hands slowly down towards the floor. Breath at the end there. Then as you breathe out, peeling slowly back up into a standing position. Good. One last time. Breath in. As you breathe out, tucking that chin down, rolling those hands slowly down towards the floor. Breath at the end there. Then as you breathe out, peeling back up into standing, and relax that body down. Fantastic. Hope you've warmed up a little bit from here. So we're going to carry on our class and come down onto the mat and onto your backs from there. Okay, so now we're down onto our mat, so we're going to continue the class. So we're going to start as we normally do by finding our neutral spine position. So we're going to bring those toes apart and those heels apart, so those feet at that hip width distance. Just to begin with, we're going to tilt the pelvis forwards and back, just nice and gently, just looking to find that neutral spine position. So that core is engaged, those ribs are nice and soft, those collarbones wide, that neck nice and long. Arms relaxed down by your side. Okay, so we're going to start with a little bit of hip control and do our scissors movement. So we're going to bring one leg up into tabletop. From here, we're going to tap the foot down, come back up and then lower. Then we'll bring the opposite leg up into tabletop, tap that foot down, back up and lower. So as you lower that leg down, don't let that back arch. You're keeping that control as you're lowering the leg down and back up. So tap down, back up and lower. And again, lift up, tap down, back up and lower. So keeping that control, not letting the back arch or your pelvis tilt as you're lifting and lowering that leg. Very good. And again, lift up, tap down, back up and lower. And again, lift up, tap down, back up and lower. Now if that's feeling comfortable, we can bring both legs up into double tabletop. Really trying to maintain that 90-degree angle of our legs. We're tapping the foot down and back up. So alternating sides. Really make sure that you don't let your back arch as you lower the leg down, or that knee bend. Keep that 90-degree angle as you're tapping the foot down, okay? Your tummy should stay nice and flat. Don't want to feel it doming. Try and keep that tummy flat as you're lowering from here. Good. So tap down, good, tap down. So keeping that control as we're lowering the leg each side. Very good. Tap down, well done. Keep that control. Well done. Dropping down each side. Very good. Keep the control as you tap down and lower. Well done. Now if that's feeling comfortable, we can go a little bit faster into reciprocal movement. So we're tapping, tapping, tapping. Good. So keep that control. So tapping the foot each side. My tummy is staying flat, not letting my back arch, maintaining that neutral position as I'm alternating sides. So tapping, tapping. Good. Keep that control as you're tapping through from here. All done. Good. Tap, tap, tap. Well done. Very good. Few more here. Make sure you go at your level. Remember, if you need to come down, then do. If you're starting to feel that back arching, your tummy dooming, just go to where you feel comfortable. tap, tap. Good, well done. Lovely. Excellent, let's do one more each side. And then lower those legs down. Let's bring those knees in and have a hug, well done. Oh, breath in and out here, well done. And just stretch that back a little bit. Good, breath in and out. And out. And just stretch out from there, well done. Okay, so just lower those legs back down one at a time. I'm going to come back to that start position. That pelvis still in that nice neutral spine and that core engaged. Okay, so we're going to work our hip control a little bit more with a one leg circle. So we're going to bring one leg up into tabletop. Imagine you've got that pencil on the end of your knee. We're going to circle that leg around, keeping that control. Just coming around as far as you feel you've got that control in that hip. So you're circling around nice and controlled from here. So just moving as big a circle as you feel you can control. If that's comfortable, we can straighten the leg and circle around from here. But make sure your pelvis isn't rolling with you. It's just that hip that's controlling the movement. And you're either drawing that circle with the knee or your foot, that imaginary circle, onto the ceiling. Keeping that control as you're coming around. Well done. That core is engaged, that pelvis is staying nice and steady as I'm moving that leg around in that circle. Well done. Okay, let's go in the opposite direction. So coming around, keeping that control as you're circling that hip around from here. Good. Coming around. Circle that leg. Well done. Come around from here, that opposite direction. Well done. Keep that control. Try and keep drawing that circle if you can. Well done. And last big circle around and back to that start. And lower that leg down, back to that start. Brilliant. Okay, let's do the same on the opposite side. So opposite leg into that tabletop. Imagine you've got that pencil on the end of your knee. You're circling that leg around. Keeping that control at the pelvis and it's circling from that hip. If that's comfortable, we can straighten the leg and circle from here. So I'm drawing that circle with my toes on the ceiling. Just going to as big a circle as you feel you can control. So just keep that control as you're coming around from here. Very good. Circling around through that circle, not too big. Just keep that control. Well done. Coming around, circling through that pelvis. Well done. Good. Okay, let's change direction. So coming around from here, the opposite direction. Keep going around, controlling that circle. Well done. Breathing in and out, not holding your breath, just making that circle as big as you feel you can control. Coming around in that opposite direction now. Keep that control. Good. All right, let's do one more circle. And then lowering that leg back down to that start. Very good. Okay, so feet and knees that are hip width distance apart still. Let's go into our bridge from here. So feet and knees that are hip width distance apart. Make sure those feet aren't too far away from you. Otherwise, if you're starting here, you often get cramp in your hamstrings. So just tuck those feet up towards your bottom. Feet and knees that are hip width distance apart. Make sure you're starting in that neutral spine position. If you need to, just tilt that pelvis forwards and back and just find that midpoint again. That core is engaged, ribs soft, arms relaxed down by your side. Okay, so let's take a breath in here. As you breathe out, tuck that pelvis under, lift up that bottom, coming up into that bridge. Take a breath in here. As you breathe out, peeling that pelvis down, back to that start. Good. Breath in. As you breathe out, use those bottom muscles, lifting you up into that bridge. Keep those bottom muscles engaged and slowly lowering back down to that start position. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, tucking that pelvis under, using those bottom muscles, lifting up into that bridge. Breath in here. As you breathe out, slowly lowering back down to that start position. Good. And again, as you breathe out, tucking that pelvis under, lifting up into that bridge. Breath in here. And as you breathe out, slowly peeling back to that start. Now, if that's feeling comfortable, we can add a few variations in if you want to. So keeping that bottom up, we can raise a foot or raise a whole foot. Sorry, I meant just a heel or a whole foot. If that's okay, we can straighten the leg. Or you can straighten and lift the leg. Okay, so just pick what's comfortable for you. I'll go through these options again. So lifting up into that bridge, use those bottom muscles, lifting you into that bridge. From here, you can raise a heel, raise your foot, stretch a leg, or stretch and lift. So any of those options, you can just repeat in your own time. Or you can just keep your feet down, okay? So just do what feels comfortable for you. You're really using those bottom muscles to lift you up. Keep that pelvis level. If you add any additional movements on, try not to let that pelvis tilt or your bottom drop, okay? So you're watching to make sure if you add any of those more challenging movements, you're still maintaining that level at the pelvis, okay? And that bottom lifted. So make sure it's not dropping. Good. So just repeating this here, just in your own time, working on that movement, keeping that control. Good. Lovely. And lowering down. We'll do a few more here. Breath in to prepare. As you breathe out, lifting up. Just pick what's comfortable for you, either a heel raise, a foot lift, a leg stretch, or a stretch and a lift. Good. Well done. Tucking that pelvis under. Good. Making sure that pelvis staying level, that bottom's not dropping, keeping that control. Good. Lifting up through. And lowering down, well done. All right, well done. Let's do one more here. So just really keeping that control, tucking that bottom under, lifting up into the bridge. Use those bottom muscles, keeping yourself there. And then just lowering back down to that start. Well done. Let's have a quick hug. Just bring those knees in and stretch out that back. Well done. Breath in and out here. On that out breath, just sink down into that stretch a little bit further if you can. Well done. Breath in and out. Good. And then just lowering back down one at a time from there. Okay, so feet and knees that hip width distance apart. We're going to do our opposite arm, opposite leg movement. So really watching with this leg, with movement, that you're not letting your ribs flare. I'm keeping that distance between my hip bones and my ribs the same. So I'm not letting my back, make sure you don't feel your back arching. I'm still keeping that contact with the mat. So my pelvis is neutral. Just going to start by lengthening one leg away, okay? Either along the floor if you need to, or if you can, just keep it hovering above. And then back. And then we alternate sides, opposite leg, lengthening away. Now, if you can, we're going to add in our arm. So opposite arm, we lengthen and then back. Now, you're not necessarily trying to touch the floor with that arm because that might be too far and my ribs will flare. So I'm just going as far as I feel I can control that movement and that distance the same between my ribs and my hip bones. And I'm able to maintain that neutral spine position as I'm lengthening through. It's a really nice lengthening exercise through that body. Just really opening out through, lengthening that body each side. Good, but really keeping that control as I do that movement. Good, so opposite arm, opposite leg, lengthening away. Excellent. Good, and again, opposite arm, opposite leg, lengthening through. Now if that's comfortable here, you can bring both legs up into double tabletop and then lengthen that opposite arm, opposite leg, keeping the opposite leg in tabletop. So we're just still lengthening through that body. I'm just breathing out as I'm lengthening the leg and arm. And opening out through. Very good. Keeping that control, make sure your ribs aren't flaring. Really watching, make sure that back isn't arching. If it feels too much in double tabletop, if you've come up, then just go back with that leg onto the ground, okay? So just working to what's comfortable for you. Opposite arm, opposite leg, make sure your back isn't arching, your ribs aren't flaring as you lengthen. Opposite arm, opposite leg. Very good. Just do last few here. Good. Opening out through, lovely. Let's do one last one each side. Good. Float those arms back down and those legs back to that style. Very good. Okay, so let's just stretch out into a rotation stretch from here. So arms down by your side or out to the side of you. We're going to drop those knees over to one side. Turn your head to the opposite side if you can. Use those toe muscles to bring the knees back up to the middle and then over to that opposite side. So using those toe muscles, bring the knees back up to that centre and then over to that opposite side. So just rotating side to side from there. Using those toe muscles to open out through that back, coming up and then over. Dropping over side to side from here, opening out through that chest and just rotating through that lower back as well. Well done. So just going to do a few more here in your own time, looking around in that opposite direction just to really rotate through that neck as well. Going back up and opposite side over again. So just moving through that movement, dropping the knees over, side to side from here. Good. And again, dropping over, using those toe muscles, coming back up to that centre, then over to that opposite side. Good, let's just do one more each side. Drop those knees over, turn that head to the opposite side. Use those toe muscles, bring the knees back up, and then over to that opposite side again. Good, and then use those toe muscles coming back up to that start, and those arms relaxed down by your side. Very good. Okay, so we're going to grab that thicker block if you're using one, and come round onto our sides. So you can just use a block to have under your head just to support it there, or a little towel or a pillow, but just whatever you're using, making sure that neck is in a nice alignment from here. Okay, so we're going to do our move of the month, our side kick movement. So we're going to bend our knees up. Those hips are really stacked on top of each other. Make sure that core's engaged, those hips are stacked, and we're going to start by just lifting that top leg up to that hip height. Now, we'll just imagine that leg's on a table. We're sliding that leg forwards and sliding it back, keeping that leg at that hip height position all the time as you slide forwards and slide back. So you're keeping that control as you're sliding forwards and back from here. Make sure your back isn't arching as you go back or flexing too far as you come forwards. It's just that pelvis that's controlling the movement forwards and back. If that feels okay here, we can straighten the leg, keeping that leg at that hip height as we slide forwards and slide back. If your leg is straight, then we can point the toes to glide forwards, flex the foot to glide back. Point the toes to glide forward, flex the foot to glide back. So keeping that control, that leg at that hip height all the time, so those muscles having to work really hard to maintain that hip height position. If you want to challenge it a little bit more, we can straighten that lower leg and we glide that top leg still forwards and back, again all the time, making that leg sure that leg is still at that hip height level. If you want to challenge it more, we can lift that top leg, lower leg to join, keep that lower leg raised, and we glide forwards and back from here still. Again, keeping that leg in that hip height position. You may want that hand in front for a little bit of balance because it's just challenging that stability a little bit more. If that's comfortable, we can move that block, slide that upper body into that C-shaped position, that core's engaged, both legs lifted. Glide forwards and glide back. Keep that control as you're gliding that top leg and really working those glutes hard, keeping that leg at that hip height as you glide forwards and glide back from here. Good. So gliding forwards, gliding back, keeping that control through that movement. Well done. Glide forwards, glide back. That core's engaged, those bottom muscles working hard to keep that leg at that hip height. Good. Glide forwards, glide back. Keep that control. Very good. Gliding forwards, glide back. Last few. Excellent. Let's do one more glide forwards, glide back, and lower that leg down. Well done. Bend those legs up. Give that muscle a little rest from there. Oh, okay. So we're going to work those muscles a little bit more, and we're going to straighten both legs out again. So both legs are straight. Just have your toes just in front, just so you can see the fronts of your feet there. That core's engaged and those hips are stacked. And we're going to go lift and lower. So we're going to bring the top leg up to that hip height and lower back down. So that top leg's lifted and then lowering. I'm only lifting it to that hip height as this beginning movement, okay? So lifting and lowering. And again, lifting and lowering. If that feels comfortable, we can lift the top leg, bring the lower leg to join and lower both down together. Core's engaged, top leg lifted, lower leg to join, lower down together. And again, top leg lifted, lower leg to join, lower down together. Core engaged, top leg lifted, lower leg to join, lower down together. And again, top leg lifted, lower leg to join, lower down together. Very good. Keeping that control as you're lifting and lowering from there. Good. And again, top leg lifted, lower leg to join, lower down together. And again. Good. Top leg lifted, lower leg to join, lower down together. So you may want that hand in front for a little bit of balance. Try not to brace through that arm. If you don't need it, you can just pop it out of the way. It's because I want to keep that upper body fairly relaxed if you can. Nice and controlled. Make sure you're not lifting that top leg any higher than hip height. Otherwise, you're making it really tough for yourself because you don't need to lift that lower leg any higher to join it then. Good. So top leg lifted. Lower leg to join, lower down together. Top leg lifted, lower leg to join, lower down together. Good. And again, top leg lifted, lower leg to join, lower down together. And lower. Well done. Last one. Lower leg to join, lower down together. Well done. Bend those knees up. Give that muscle a little rub from there. Very good. Okay, so we're going to go and do the same on the opposite side. So we're going to come round and do that same again. So bringing our legs round and we'll come down onto our sides again. So just as we did, we're going to do our side kick movement again. So we're going to bend those legs up. Those hips are really stacked on top of each other. That core's engaged. So we're going to start by lifting that top leg to that hip height level. So from here, we're gliding that leg forwards and gliding the leg back. Keeping that control as we glide forwards and glide back. Making sure that leg is staying at that hip height position throughout this movement, okay? That's what's important. If that's feeling comfortable, we can straighten that top leg, glide the leg forwards and glide back. Just come up, so gliding forwards, gliding back. Point the toes to glide forward, flex the foot to glide back. Point the toes to glide forward, flex the foot to glide back. Keeping that leg at that hip height and controlling that movement through that pelvis. Not bring the leg too far forwards or too far back that my back is arching. So you're controlling that movement. Good. Now, as we've done before, if you want to, you can straighten that lower leg and glide the leg forwards and gliding back. Keep that control as you glide forwards and glide back. Good, so just challenging that balance and that stability a little bit more because you've got less base of support through that lower leg. Good. Now, if you want to make it a little bit harder still, we can bring that lower leg lifted, keep it lifted as we're gliding forwards and gliding back, still with that top leg. Keep that leg at that hip height position, remember, as you're gliding forwards and gliding back. Good. And then if you want to challenge it even more, we can drop that block down, glide that upper body up into that C-shape position, both legs lifted, and we keep that lower leg lifted as we're gliding that top leg forwards and back, keeping at that hip height level as you glide forwards and glide back. Good. Keep going, gliding forwards, gliding back, well done. Those bottom muscles working really hard to keep that leg at that hip height position and that core engaged as you're gliding forwards and gliding back. Well done. Keep going here, glide forwards and glide back. Well done. So whatever level you're working on, just go to what's comfortable for you. We're challenging those muscles for each of these levels, so it's just working to what suits you as you're gliding forwards, gliding back. Well done. Let's do one more. Glide forwards, glide back, and then lower those legs down. Well done. Bend those legs back up and just give that muscle a little rest from here. Very good. Okay, so we're going to drop that block away and we're going to come up into a sitting position from here. So we're going to come round into sitting. Okay, so I'm just going to move my mic with me. So feet and knees that hip width distance apart. We're going to do a few sort of roll down movements, come down my mat a little bit more. So from here, I just want you to think about where your pelvis is sitting. Have our arms in front and just tilt back and then lift up and raise those arms. And again, drop down just halfway and then lift up and lengthen through, okay? And again, so dropping down and back, just halfway down, and then use those toe muscles to come up and lift up and through. Good, and again, dropping down, rolling just halfway back, and then rolling up and lengthen through. And again, just rolling down, halfway down, use those toe muscles engaging as you lengthen up and through. And again, rolling down. Just halfway down and slowly rolling back up and up and lengthen. So either sticking with this halfway down movement from here, or if you can, we can roll all the way down. Bring our arms up and then roll back up into that seated position again. So just pick what's comfortable for you, either rolling halfway and back up, or if you can, we can roll all the way down. Bring those arms up and lifting up through, and then lengthening into that tall standing sort of seated position. Good, and again rolling either halfway down and then back up, or if you can, roll all the way down. Arms up above your head, going back up and then up into that seated position. Good, and again rolling down. If you can, all the way down, arms up above, and lifting up through, and then up nice and tall, lengthening through. Good, just do last couple here. Good. And then rolling up through, lengthening that body. Very good. And rolling up through, lengthening that body. Good, let's just do one more. Rolling down. Keeping that control. Arms above, stretching, lifting up and rolling up through, nice and tall, lengthening back. and then lower those arms. Very good. Okay, so we're going to work our obliques a little bit and just drop down to our side. So still staying up nice and tall. Those feet at that hip width distance apart. We're just going to drop down one side and then lifting back up. And then the opposite side, dropping down and then back up. So it's just a little side rotation movement as we drop down and lift up. Just working our obliques a little bit more as we drop down and then lift up and drop down and then lift up. Good. Drop down and then lifting up through. And again, dropping down, lifting up through. And again, alternating each side as we're dropping down and lifting up. And again, dropping down and lifting up. Good. Do last few here. Good. Do one more each side. So drop down, lift up tall, and drop down, and lift up tall, and lower those arms back down. Well done. Okay, so let's have a nice little stretch out in our seated position. So I'd have your legs crossed, or you can just have them out in front, wherever's comfortable for you. Okay, so we're just going to do a little spine twist movement. So we're going to bring our arms just into that sort of Cossack position. Make sure your neck is nice and long and lifted, and then we're going to take a breath in. As we breathe out, we're going to rotate our body around. Breath in here. As you breathe out, coming back to that centre. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, rotating that upper body. Breath in. And as you breathe out, coming back to that centre. Good. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, rotating that body. Breath in. And as you breathe out, back to that centre. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, rotating around. Breath in. And as you breathe out, back to that centre. Okay, we do one more each side. Breath in. As you breathe out, rotating around. Breath in. On that out breath, back to that centre. Good. And again, breath in. As you roll around to the opposite side, breath in. As you breathe out, coming back to that centre. Just relaxing those arms back down from here. Okay, we're going to stretch into our mermaid. It's going to drop one hand down by your side. Bring that opposite arm up and over, just stretching out those sides. Breath in here. And as you breathe out, reaching up and over. Good, and again, breath in. As you breathe out, reaching over. Breath in here. And as you breathe out, reaching up and over. Good, and again, breath in. As you breathe out, reaching over. Breath in. And as you breathe out, reaching up and over. Good, and again, breath in. As you breathe out, reaching over. Breath in. And as you breathe out, back up and over. Good. One last time. Breath in. As you breathe out, reaching up and over, stretching out through that side. Breath in. And as you breathe out, back to that start. Last time. Breath in and out. Breath in. And then again on the out breath, back up to that start. Good. And just rolling those shoulders from here. Very good. Okay, so let's just clasp our hands together. Reach those fingers away. Lifting up to that shoulder height. Drop that chin down to your chest. Look up to your hands, then follow them both together up to the ceiling. And then open those hands nice and wide. And again, fingers clasped. Reach away. Hands up to shoulder height. Drop the chin down to your chest. Look up at those hands and up together to the ceiling and opening out wide. Good. And again, fingers clasped. Reaching away, float the hands to shoulder height. Drop your chin to your chest. Look up to those hands and both together, reaching up to the ceiling and then opening wide. Good. One more here. Fingers clasped. Reach those fingers away, up to shoulder height. Drop that chin to your chest. Look up to those fingers, reach up together to the ceiling and opening those hands nice and wide and just relaxing those shoulders there. Very good. Okay, so we're going to stretch out our bottom muscles now. So we're going to just pop one foot across your leg from here. And we're going to stretch around to feel that bottom muscle. So just to feel that stretching as you come around. We're just going to hold this stretch, so just breathing in and out. On the out breath, just sinking down. Good, breath in. As you breathe, relaxing down. Just stretching into that bottom muscle there. Good, breath in. As you breathe out, just relaxing through. Good, holding this stretch. One more breath in and out. And then just releasing that leg around. And then the opposite leg in front. So we're going to just stretch around. Just really stretching through, rotating that body. Just feeling that stretch into that bottom. And we're holding this stretch here. Breath in and out nice and gently. Good. Breath in and out again. Good. And breath in and out. Just relaxing into that stretch. Well done. One more breath in and out here. And then coming back to that start. So legs in front. Let's take a breath in. As you breathe out, tucking that chin down, just rolling through that spine, rolling down towards your feet. Breath in. As you breathe out, rolling up nice and tall. One more breath in. As you breathe out, tucking that chin down, rolling those hands slowly, roll to those feet. And as you breathe out, rolling back up nice and tall. One last time, breath in. As you breathe out, tuck that chin down, curl through that spine, rolling down. Breath in. As you breathe out, reeling back up. Very good. Well done. Fantastic. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the class today. Remember, if you've got any comments or feedback, you can use our comment section below. But otherwise, I hope you've enjoyed it and hope to see you next time.